The sun had barely risen when Ades woke up, her heart racing and her breath coming in quick, shallow gasps. She sat up in her bed, the remnants of a vivid dream still clinging to her like morning dew. She had seen her mother. It was the most beautiful thing she had experienced in a long time, a vision so unexpected that it left her startled. In the dream, her mother had appeared as she remembered her from childhood, radiant and kind, with a smile that could light up even the darkest room. Ades had almost forgotten that smile, a smile that had been her solace in the years of hardship and loss. Seeing her mother again after all these years was a shock, like a sudden gust of wind that took her breath away. The dream had been so real, so vivid, that for a moment, Ades believed she could reach out and touch her. She had felt a warmth, a love that she hadn't felt in years, wash over her. In the dream, her mother hadn't spoken much, but her presence had been enough to convey 1,000 words. They had stood together in a beautiful, serene meadow, surrounded by wildflowers that swayed gently in the breeze. Her mother had reached out, her eyes full of tenderness and understanding, and placed a hand on Adaizi's cheek. "My daughter," she had said softly, her voice echoing like a sweet melody. "You have grown strong, but you must forgive. Find peace in your heart. Do not let the past hold you back." Those words lingered in Adaizi's mind, even as she tried to shake off the last traces of sleep. Forgive. The word felt heavy, almost impossible. How could she forgive a father who had abandoned her and a stepmother who had made her life unbearable? How could she let go of the pain that had shaped so much of who she was? But the memory of her mother's face, so full of love and peace, made her pause. She realized how much she missed that feeling, how much she longed to feel at peace with herself and her past. Adaizi took a deep breath, letting the emotion of the dream wash over her. It felt like a message, a sign that she was not alone, that her mother was still watching over her, guiding her even from beyond the grave. She got up from bed and walked over to the small window in her apartment, opening it to let in the cool morning air. The city was just beginning to wake up, the first hints of sunlight stretching across the skyline. As she stood there, gazing out at the world, she felt a calmness settle over her. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. Find peace in your heart. Ades decided she needed to talk to someone about this dream. The first person who came to mind was Michael. He had been her rock, her confidant, and she knew he would listen without judgment. She quickly got dressed and headed out, her mind still reeling from the dream, but her heart feeling lighter than it had in years. When she arrived at Michael's learning center, he was already there, setting up for the day. He looked up as she walked in, immediately sensing that something was different about her. "Adaizi," he greeted, concern etched in his features. "Are you all right? You look different today." Adaizi managed a small smile and nodded. "I'm okay, Michael. I had a dream last night, a dream about my mother." Michael's eyes softened, and he gestured for her to sit down. "Tell me about it," he encouraged gently. As Ades recounted the dream, Michael listened intently, his expression a mix of empathy and curiosity. When she finished, he leaned back, thoughtful. "It sounds like your mother is trying to tell you something important," he said. "Maybe she's guiding you toward healing, toward letting go of the past so you can move forward." Ades nodded slowly. "I've been thinking about that. It's just so hard to forgive. I don't know if I'm ready to let go of everything that happened." Michael reached across the table and took her hand in his, giving it a reassuring squeeze. "Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, Adaizi. It doesn't mean what they did was okay. It just means freeing yourself from the hold it has on you. It's a way of finding peace for yourself, not for them." Ades took a deep breath, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders. Michael's words resonated with her, echoing the sentiment of her dream. Maybe it was time to start letting go, to begin the journey toward forgiveness, not for those who had wronged her, but for herself, to find the peace her mother wanted for her. For the first time in years, Ades felt a glimmer of hope that she could find that peace, that she could build a future unburdened by the pains of her past. And maybe, just maybe, her mother was right there with her, guiding her every step of the way. Back in the village, Chukwudi's search for Adaizi had been arduous. He had reached out to anyone who might have known her whereabouts, combing through nearby towns and even making a few trips to the city. The guilt that weighed on his heart only intensified with each dead end. Every night, his late wife's face haunted his dreams, urging him on with tearful eyes to bring their daughter back. Desperation grew in him like a thorny vine, twisting around his chest. He had asked old friends, villagers, and even strangers if they had seen a young girl matching Adaizi's description, not even sure what her appearance will be like now. Some pitied him, while others shook their heads, unsure how to help the broken man. But Chukwudi pressed on, driven by the hope that he could make amends for his past mistakes. Finally, after months of searching, he received a lead from a passerby who said he had seen a young woman that resembled Adaiz working in a shop in the city. Though vague, it was the first real clue Chukwudi had gotten in months. He decided to follow it, praying to God that this was the sign he had been waiting for. Meanwhile, in the city, Adaiz was finding her own path toward healing. After her dream, she had spent many nights thinking about her mother's words and Michael's advice. Forgiveness was a powerful thing, she realized. It wasn't just about letting go of the hurt, but about reclaiming her life, her happiness, on her terms. One evening, after a long day, Adaiz decided it was time to face her past. She called Michael and begged him to come over, feeling a mix of anxiety and determination. When he arrived, he could see the seriousness in her eyes. "Michael," she began, "I want to go back to the village. I need to see my father. I need to know if I can forgive him and if he's truly sorry for what he allowed to happen." Michael nodded, understanding the gravity of her decision. "I think that's a brave thing to do, Adaiz. And you don't have to do it alone. I'll go with you." Adaiz smiled, grateful for his support. "Thank you, Michael. It means a lot to me to have you by my side." The next day, they set out for the village, a mix of emotions swirling in Adaizi's heart. As they drove, she gazed out the window, trying to prepare herself for what lay ahead. She hadn't told Michael everything, but she had decided to approach this reunion without revealing the extent of her success in the city. She wanted to see if her family would accept her for who she was, not for what she had achieved. When they arrived, the village seemed smaller than she remembered, the streets narrower, the houses more weathered. Memories flooded back, some painful, some bittersweet. Michael squeezed her hand reassuringly as they made their way to her father's house. Chukwudi was outside, his back hunched as he worked in the small garden, when he saw them approaching. He froze, his breath catching in his throat as he recognized his daughter. For a moment, he thought he was dreaming again, but the look on Adaizi's face, a mixture of apprehension and determination, told him this was real. "Adaiz," he whispered, his voice breaking. He dropped the hoe he was holding and stumbled toward her, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Adaiz, is it really you?" Adaiz nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. "Yes, Papa, it's me." Tears welled up in Chukwudi's eyes as he reached out to touch her, as if afraid she might disappear. "I've been looking for you everywhere," he said, his voice trembling. "I'm so sorry, Adaiz. I've been such a fool. Please, forgive me." Adaizi felt a lump form in her throat as she saw the sincerity in her father's eyes. She had prepared herself for this moment, but now that it was here, she wasn't sure what to say. "Papa, I don't know what to say," she began, her voice thick with emotion. "I came back because I needed to know if you were sorry, if you regretted what happened." "I do," Chukwudi said quickly, tears streaming down his face. "I regret every moment I allowed Ngozi to treat you that way. I was weak, and I let my weakness cloud my judgment. I'm so sorry, my daughter. Please forgive me." Adaizi looked into his eyes, searching for any hint of insincerity, but all she saw was pain and regret. Slowly she nodded. "I forgive you, Papa. But things can't just go back to the way they were. We need to rebuild, to start fresh. Chukwudi nodded eagerly. Anything, Adaise. Anything you need, I will do it. At that moment, Ngozi came out of the house, her eyes narrowing when she saw Adaise standing there. She scoffed, folding her arms across her chest. What is this? The prodigal daughter returns, she sneered. You think you can just come back here after all these years? Adaise turned to her stepmother, her expression calm but firm. I'm not here to cause trouble, Ngozi. I just wanted to see if my father was sorry for what happened. I'm not asking for anything from you. Ngozi's face twisted with disdain. You think you can waltz back in here and everything will be forgiven? You're not welcome here, Adaise, not after the way you left. Chukwudi turned to his wife, anger flashing in his eyes. Ngozi, enough. Adaise is my daughter, and I want her here. I will not let you drive her away again. Ngozi huffed, clearly unimpressed. She has no place here. I won't have it. Michael, who had been quietly observing, decided it was time to step in. With all due respect, ma'am, he said, his voice calm but firm, Adaise isn't asking to stay. She just came to see her father and make peace. And maybe in time, you might see her in a different light too. Ngozi rolled her eyes. I don't care who she's with or what she wants. She left, and that's that. Adaise looked at Ngozi, her gaze steady. I'm not here to take anything from you, Ngozi. I just wanted to know if my father cared enough to want me back. But it seems you still can't see past your own bitterness. Ngozi was about to retort when a neighbor passed by and recognized Adaise. Adaise, is that you? I heard you're doing well in the city, is that true? Ngozi's eyes widened slightly, but she quickly masked it with a look of indifference. Doing well? What could she possibly be doing well at? Adaise smiled faintly, deciding to maintain her pretense. I've been managing, Auntie, just getting by. The neighbor, unaware of the tension, nodded approvingly. That's good, my dear. I'm glad to see you've landed on your feet. As the neighbor walked away, Ngozi muttered under her breath, still scowling. Chukwudi, however, stepped forward, his eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and hope. Thank you for coming back, Adaise. I know it wasn't easy, and I promise I will do whatever it takes to make things right. Adaise nodded. We'll see, Papa. We have a lot to work through, but I'm willing to try. With that, she turned to Michael, who gave her a reassuring nod. They began to leave, and as they walked away, Adaise felt a strange sense of closure. Her father's apology had been sincere, and while she wasn't ready to forget the past, she was willing to see what the future might hold. Back in the house, Ngozi watched them go, her expression unreadable. She didn't know that Adaise had become a successful businesswoman, that she had built a life far beyond anything Ngozi could have imagined. Adaise had chosen not to reveal her wealth or success, wanting to see if her family could accept her without it. It was a test, one that Ngozi had seemingly failed, but Adaise was at peace with that. She had come back to make peace, and that was exactly what she intended to do, on her terms, and for her own sake. After that visit, Adaise knew she needed more time to reflect on what had transpired. Michael had been a steadfast companion, encouraging her to take things slowly and allowing her to process everything. But Adaise's heart was already beginning to soften toward her father. Despite all the years of pain and neglect, she could see that he was genuinely remorseful. He had been manipulated by Ifeoma, and now he wanted to make things right. A few weeks later, she received a call from her father. His voice sounded different, lighter, relieved even. Adaise, he began hesitantly. I've done what I should have done a long time ago. I've asked Ifeoma to leave. She won't trouble us any longer. Adaise felt a mix of emotions swirl inside her. Relief, sadness, and a strange sense of closure. Thank you, Papa, she said softly. That means a lot to me. Chukwudi sighed deeply. I want to make things right, Adaise. I want to be the father you deserve, the one I should have been all along. Moved by his words, Adaise decided it was time to take a step forward. I believe you, Papa, and I'm ready to start fresh too. But this time, we'll do things right. Over the next few months, Adaze began visiting the village more frequently. She didn't come empty-handed. She brought groceries, medicines, and little gifts to make her father's life more comfortable. With Michael's help, she also hired a contractor to start building a new house for him. It was a modest but beautiful home, designed to bring peace and comfort to her father in his later years. Chukwudi was overwhelmed by her generosity. He had never expected such kindness after everything that had happened. He watched with a mix of awe and gratitude as the construction took shape. Adaze was careful to involve him in the process, asking for his input on things like the layout and colors. She wanted him to feel that this house was not just a gift, but a symbol of their new beginning. As the house neared completion, Chukwudi found himself feeling lighter than he had in years. He no longer had the nightmares of his late wife crying. For the first time since Adaze left, he felt at peace. It was as if her presence had been a call to action, pushing him to make amends and to restore his relationship with their daughter. Now that he had taken those steps, her spirit seemed to have found rest. Adaze noticed the change in him too. He smiled more, spoke more softly, and took great pride in his little garden, which she helped him cultivate any time she was in the village. She found herself feeling a sense of contentment that she hadn't experienced in years. She was finally reconnecting with the father she remembered from her early childhood, before grief and bitterness had clouded their lives. One sunny afternoon, as they sat on the porch of the newly built house, Adaze turned to her father with a smile. "Papa, I want you to know that I'm happy we're here, that we're doing this," she said. Chukwudi nodded, his eyes misting with tears. "I am too, Adaze. I've been given a second chance, and I won't waste it." As the weeks turned into months, their bond grew stronger. Chukwudi remained regretful for the years he had lost, but he also knew that dwelling on the past wouldn't help them move forward. Instead, he focused on the time they had now, making sure to cherish every moment. Michael remained a constant support for Adaze, visiting the village with her often. He admired her strength and kindness, seeing how she handled each step of the reconciliation with grace. Her actions had not only healed her father, but had also taught the entire village a lesson in forgiveness and redemption. One evening, after a long day of planting new crops in the garden, Adaze and Chukwudi sat on the porch, sipping fresh palm wine and watching the sunset. The colors painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, casting a warm glow over the new house. Chukwudi turned to his daughter, a gentle smile on his face. "Your mother would be so proud of you, Adaze. You've become an incredible woman, despite everything." Adaze smiled back, her heart full. "I like to think she's with us, Papa, watching over us and smiling." Chukwudi nodded. "I think so too, and I think she's happy now. I haven't seen her in my dreams since we began rebuilding. It's like she's at peace, just like us." Adaze reached out and took his hand, squeezing it gently. "We've come a long way, Papa, and I'm glad we made it here together." They sat in comfortable silence, the weight of their past lifted, replaced by a newfound peace and understanding. They had both been broken by loss and pain, but together they had found a way to heal. Adaze knew there was still a long road ahead, but she felt ready to walk it, one step at a time, with her father by her side. And for the first time in a long time, she felt truly at home. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Adaze leaned her head on her father's shoulder, grateful for the second chance they had been given. They didn't need words to fill the silence. The quiet was enough, a silent testament to the journey they had taken, the forgiveness they had given, and the love they had reclaimed. The end. Here's a continuation of your story where Michael and Adaze finally get married and start their lives together. After months of rebuilding her life and reconciling with her father, Adaze's bond with Michael only grew stronger. Their friendship had blossomed into something deeper, and soon, Michael proposed. The news of their engagement brought joy to both their families. Even Adaze's father, Chukwudi, could see that Michael was the man who truly understood and cherished his daughter. The day of their wedding arrived, filled with love and celebration. The village came alive as family, friends, and neighbors gathered to witness Adaise and Michael's union. It was a beautiful ceremony, filled with traditional dances, music, and heartfelt vows. As they exchanged rings under the bright Nigerian sun, Adaise felt a peace she hadn't known in years. Her journey had been difficult, but she had found her happiness in Michael. After the wedding, they settled into a cozy home Michael had built near the city. Life as a married couple brought its challenges, but Adaise and Michael faced them together. Adaise continued to run her successful fashion business while also managing her tech job, while Michael expanded his computer services business. Their love and partnership flourished as they worked side by side, supporting each other's dreams. In their home, laughter echoed in the halls, and joy filled every corner. Adaise often thought of how far she had come, from the girl who had been cast out to the woman who had found love, peace, and a future filled with hope. Together, she and Michael built a life rooted in love, respect, and the promise of endless possibilities. This story teaches us about forgiveness, strength, and love. Adaise had a difficult life after her mother died. Her father was influenced by his second wife, who treated Adaise badly, and he sent her away. Even though Adaise was hurt, she worked hard to build a new life in the city. She found a friend in Michael, who supported her through tough times. One day, Adaise decided to forgive her father and visit him. Her father was very sorry for what he did, and they started to rebuild their relationship. This shows us that even when people hurt us, we can choose to forgive them and find peace. Later, Adaise and Michael got married and started a happy life together. The story reminds us that no matter how hard life gets, with hard work, kindness, and forgiveness, we can find happiness. It also teaches us that love and friendship are important, and they help us grow and heal. In the end, forgiveness helped Adaise and her father be happy again, and Adaise found love and success in her life. Thank you for watching this story on Afro Tales TV. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment, and share with friends and family. We have more beautiful stories coming your way, so subscribe and stay tuned. See you in the next one.